The cancer of illegal migrant sex offenders in Britain gets worse by the day. An Afghan monster who came across the channel raped a 23-year-old woman on a bus and sexually assaulted a 16-year-old girl. Rahmat Qalandar was found guilty of rape and indecent assault after a trial at Preston Crown Court and sentenced to 10 years. So you're paying for him to stay in prison. Apparently he'll be deported once his sentence is finished. I mean, why not just get rid of him now? Also, is 10 years really long enough? Our eco-fanatic energy minister, Ed Miliband, is apparently considering doing a deal with the Taliban to import fuel from them. So if Afghanistan is safe enough to trade with, then it must be safe enough to send rapists back to. And then today, this happened. An asylum seeker who sexually attacked his stepdaughter has avoided deportation back to Africa because he needed to give his wife emotional support to look after her children. It was ruled that if the man, originally from Central Africa, was removed, his wife would lose all emotional support and it would negatively affect her children's well-being. I mean, this decision came 3 years, apparently, after he was found guilty of sexual assault of 3 young girls. The Home Office has appealed this decision. But what on earth is going on in our courts? What are our judges up to? And how do these lawyers sleep at night? Politicians and lefty media types want you to believe that these are isolated incidents. But they're not. Yesterday, I rattled off a load. Here's some more. Sudanese Mofasim Abdul Karim was caught last year talking to what he thought was a 14-year-old girl online and attempting to meet her for sex. He received a 20-month suspended sentence. Sadistic Iraqi Abdullah Bilal was jailed for 3 years last month for child cruelty after tying up and gagging a child in Wolverhampton and forcing an object into their mouth. Eritrean Hanok Zerai sexually assaulted 6 women in Brighton in 2022 and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Here is a video that one brave woman took as she tried to fight him off.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I don't like being touched.
My sister, yeah?
I don't like being touched, sorry.
Hey.
No. Ow!
Go away!
The fact is, you have been paying for these people to live in Britain and commit these crimes. How many more women and children have to be abused before someone puts a stop to this? Let's get our thoughts on my panellists. Political consultant Suzanne Evans. We've got political commentator Alex Armstrong and former Labour Minister Bill Rammell. Suzanne, I'll start with you on this. The absolute scale of this problem, sex attacks by illegal immigrants and asylum seekers, is vast.
I think it is. The trouble is we don't know. And this is, I think, what irritates me more than anything else, is that we don't know the scale of this problem. We see these stories day in, day out. It's like there's a new one every day. Yet the government won't tell us how many people are on their watch list, how many people have got criminal records. We don't know whether they've got criminal records because they've chucked their passports, they've chucked all their papers, they're not who they say they are, they lie about their names, their ages, where they've come from. So we don't know, and yet they're living in their midst. And it's like, you know, the monster next door that might well be there that you just don't know about. You don't know if your family is safe, your child is safe, your friends are safe, your neighbours. None of us know. And this is what makes me absolutely sick. And like you just said, Patrick, how many more people have to die, be sexually assaulted, be maimed, be injured, be kidnapped, whatever it might be, before somebody actually damn well does something?
Well, why are we paying for this guy to spend the best part of 10 years in prison? That one, the Afghan Channel migrant there who raped a woman at the back of a bus and then sexually assaulted a 16-year-old at the back of the bus. Instead of just deporting him, we're paying for him to be in prison for the next best part of 10 years.
Yeah, it's a middle finger up to the taxpayer, isn't it? It really is. And it's a sign of that justice system that is completely corrupted and no longer fit for purpose. I saw also yesterday there was the story of the migrant who had pushed the postman into the railway on the tube, also now going to prison instead of being immediately deported back to Iraq. The British public are sick of these stories. We have been taken for granted. There's people coming in the hundreds of thousands. We don't know who they are. They chuck their papers into the water as they come over. We have no idea of their criminal records, and many of them get refused asylum in countries like Germany and France. So it is a middle finger up to our country and our weak justice system and our failing immigration system.
Now, look, again, I will stress that, you know, we have people already in this country, you know, Brits, who commit these crimes.
Yeah, but we don't need any more.
Of course.
We don't need any more.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And the point is, I do wonder, Bill, whether or not, actually, the previous government, the Tories, definitely, because I tried to get them to reveal the true number of this and they refused to. But whether this Labour government actually is more intent on trying to hide this stuff than tell us about it and deal with it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, look, you know, it's a horrifying case and it's understandable that people get really angry about this. But the law was changed. In 2007, under the last Labour government, the law was changed so that any foreign criminal serving more than 12 months is automatically deported. Theresa May toughened that up in 2012 and after appeal, the vast majority are deported. Now, there's a debate to be had about whether you imprison them here first and ensure that they serve their sentence, and yes, we pay for that, but justice is done, or whether you immediately send them back.
OK, but Suzanne, in the case of the chap from Africa that we mentioned there, who had been convicted of sexually abusing 3 girls, including his stepdaughter, upon appeal, he was allowed to stay in Britain because his wife needed emotional support.
Yeah.
So what is going on here with our legal system?
Well, what's going on with our legal system is that actually the perpetrator has more rights than the victim. I think that's self-evidently true now, and I think it has been for some time, really. We've got judges who... I don't know who they think their loyalty is to, whether it's some abject idea of the law as it applies to human rights worldwide or what it is, but they're activist judges, not judges who are putting the safety of the British people first. And I just despair because, you know, if I was a judge and I saw a murderer before me in another country or somebody who'd sexually abused a young child, I'd want him sodding well put away for life and I'd want him deported. So what is in the mentality of these idiots that they don't do that? I mean, I'm just incensed by it.
And it's really interesting, we're talking about lefty lawyers and judges, is that actually that the bar is changing its rules, or is trying to change its rules to say, rather than, you know, you should not be racist, essentially, of being a lawyer, which is completely fair, to now say you must further diversity, equity and inclusion objectives. Like, that's going to be part of the bar. So we're going to just be breeding a whole nother generation of extremely lefty lawyers, and they must prove to pass the bar that they have done something to further DEI.
And of course, that's the same with politicians.
You know what,
as well,
I know we
isn't
want
it?
a diet that everything is woe and everything is not working. And we're going to come on to talk about Labour's first 100 days. But do you know, since the general election, the number of deportations of foreign criminals and asylum seekers has gone through the roof. In August, a flight carrying 200 such people to Brazil is the largest flight of deportations we've had on record. There have been similar flights to Vietnam and East Timor, and it's not been communicated effectively.
Yeah, you're right. Look, those things have happened, right? 100% those things have happened. And, you know, it's all very well and good us digging out Labour every now and again or whatever, but, you know, that has happened. The counter to that, I do think, Bill, is that we've also had a couple of record days in the Channel, and all of those people will now be allowed to at least claim asylum. You know, I'll stress again, I'm not trying to say that every single person coming across in a small boat is some kind of sexual predator or anything like that. But we are seeing some of them, and I would like that to be stopped, really, and I don't think that's too much to ask. Look, you know, people, I think, have been demonised about talking about this for far too long. And I have been able to fill on successive nights 2 monologues with a catalogue of examples there, and there are loads more. Yet again this evening I've had to cut stuff out because we haven't got all the time to do it. This is a problem that is larger than anyone would like you to believe.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. And what also is absolutely needs saying, this is not a right-wing issue. You know, if you don't want people raped, if you don't want people sexually assaulted, if you don't want people, even if it might just be something simple as conned out of money, you have to stand against this. It's not right-wing to want to be safe in your own country. And this is the problem. And I think, Bill, you know, this is what Labour has done an awful lot, is demonised people that have complained about mass uncontrolled immigration. It's demonised people who have talked about these boats coming in. You know, we've got the lobbyies on the other side saying, oh, they're all refugees, they're all coming from terrible war-torn
countries. Do you think Labour politicians would feel
not.
comfortable standing up and mentioning this stuff, Bill, really?
Yes, I do.
Why don't they, then?
Look, as a Labour MP for 13 years, I debated with my constituents.
What happened to Sarah Champion after the old grooming gang revelation?
Always said it is legitimate to debate immigration and the consequences, and Labour governments have said that as well. But We need total transparency on this. We need the figures to be revealed, but also we need the figures of the success that's taking place in actually deporting people to be revealed as well.
Well, with all due respect as well, your Labour government was a very different Labour government. Tony Blair was actually pretty good at deporting foreign criminals. This Labour government has not taken a tough stance on that. And Tony Blair's gone out and criticised the current Labour Party for that. We've been in power for 99 days. The boat crossings and deportations is going to take time to turn around, but already we've made, I think, a very impressive start, significantly increased deportations. And yes, the last Labour government deported about a third more people than the last Tory government. Absolutely right.
Each year.
Absolutely right.
I'm sorry, I see all the time, you see things that, you know, are whipped up into big scandals and they lead the news on other news channels. For me, and I'll make no excuses for this, for me, the idea that we currently have an open door system that allows a absolute catalogue, a Rolodex full of people who go on to commit the most heinous crimes, put young women and young girls and all of these people in dire risk, that to me should be leading the news every single day.
Yeah, I agree. You know, 1,000 people came over in these boats, mostly young men, just last Saturday. You know, that could be 1,000 rapists, murderers. We just don't know, and that's the problem. And it's all shot under the carpet. Nobody tells us the truth.
It's not swept under the carpet.
Oh, it is.
This has got to be tackled. But we've been in power for 99 days. It is going to take time to turn it round.
Well, I have to say, Bill, you know, the first thing Keir Starmer did was scrap the Rwanda plan. Now,
because it wasn't working and it wasn't deterrent.
It wasn't deterrent. There was plenty of evidence to suggest there were migrants queuing up to come over here when Keir Starmer became Prime Minister.
If you've got a 1% chance of being deported, for people travelling thousands of miles across the world, that is not a deterrent. Yeah. And the deportations have increased since the general election because we've diverted resources from Rwanda to doing
a guy I mentioned there who thought he was meeting a 14-year-old girl. Turned up and it was one of those groups of people that snare these individuals, right? So he got quite a rude awakening there. He was meeting her conceivably to have sex. 20 months suspended sentence. So, you know, with respect, what message is that? You can come to this country, find your way in however you want to, you know, live here on the taxpayer's dime, you can meet a 14-year-old girl or you think is 14-year-old girl for sex and you don't even go to prison. I mean, I find it ridiculous.